Boxing Bros UK here. I'm with Cruiserweight King, legendary British boxer, Jonny Nelson.
Nice to meet you, man.
It's a pleasure to meet you, man.
Nice to meet you too.
What do you make of all this today?
Today I think it's good for Tyson Fury. He's one of the few characters left in our sport. In the heavyweight division, he's probably the only character left. There are a lot of good fighters. There are a lot of good young lions coming up. So, but there's never any that sort of full package that can talk as well as fight. Tyson can talk, regardless of what he's saying. He gets your attention. I don't think he actually retired. I think he just fell out in love with it for a bit, and I think you'll have this love story for quite a while, for a few years to come.
So Zuffa boxing, let's say hypothetical situation, he wins this fight,
yes.
Signs to Zuffa, yes. They automatically make Zuffa champion, yes. And he says, if you think you're the best, Usyk retires, you've got to come to Zuffa. Do you think that could happen?
That could happen because, again, listen, Tyson Fury it's not just the ability that's got him to where he's got him. He wants to be a three-time heavyweight champion of the world. Netflix have got involved in something in boxing here in the UK, which is a good deal. It was a big deal. So now, if Netflix are doing it at the back end of his career, it means there's something he's doing that's getting their attention. There's somebody who's doing that. There's interest there, and I'm quite sure your Usyk and everybody else, even though they're at the top of the tree, Usyk's looking around to say, where's the biggest payday? Because he's proved everything. So right now, is there interest for Usyk, Fury 3? No. So Fury's got to create that interest. Fury's got to create that persona. Fury's got to create that demand from the media. And until then, he's got to get in the queue like everybody else. His experience will hopefully talk his way into that position.
Yeah. After this fight, if he does well, they'll probably be going for Usyk.
No, I don't think that'll be the case. I think what he'll do is he'll try and capture a version of the heavyweight title from, I don't know, if Wardley still got it after he boxes Dubois, and if he captures a version of the heavyweight title, then he can start screaming from the rooftops as though he's the Don again. He's had to be a little humble today, because when you've been a former world heavyweight champion, you believe you're the best fighter in the world. Yeah. And he's one of the few fighters that believed he was the best fighter in the world. So it's a hard thing to swallow.
No man born from his mother and all that business.
So I was going to say, it's a hard thing to swallow. So now he's got to prove to himself and have something to boast about, so he can back up the boast and do it that way.
So, do you think, speaking about Dubois and Wardley, who have you got in that fight? You can say, can't you? Surely.
I'll say. I think Dubois.
Really?
I think Dubois. And listen, it's a close fight. It's an interesting fight. It's a wicked fight. It's a wicked fight, trust me. And out of all the fights, you think, damn. So it depends on what version of Daniel turns up, and how things in camp are situated and sorted.
Don't you think it's a bit like, I know Wardley's white collar, but it's too soon to be fighting someone like that, because he's got a dog in him, and he's not gonna it's not a tune-up fight, Fabio Wardley, for me. Like, it should be.
It's not a tune-up fight, but if you're an established heavyweight that's been in this sport for a long time, or you've done the amateurs, you've done the pros, and you're in the top tier of the heavyweights, Fabio Wardley on paper is the softest touch.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah,
so
true.
Therefore, so if there's an opportunity, that's the opportunity you're going to go for. Fabio is constantly proving everybody wrong, saying, I'm still here, I'm still winning, I'm still sticking out, which is good. But common sense would tell you he'd be the one you aim for. And so if you think Daniel Dubois is going to get the world a world title again, this would be that fight for him.
It's a lot of pressure though for him, because if Fabio Wardley loses, everyone's going to say, yeah, we knew he was going to lose. If he loses, it's not looking good on his resume. Too many losses.
Fabio lives on that. Yeah. Anybody that fights him, then when they talk about his career and the lack of it, he lives on the people not respecting him. Now, everybody knows, he's got some dog in him. He's got some fight in him. He's got, and even Fabio against Tyson Fury, it's a mad fight, and I think to myself, you know what? I'd expect Tyson Fury to beat him, What version of Tyson Fury got left? I don't know. I don't know. I'm not sure if my stats are right. I think in the last 8 fights, I think Tyson's been down 5 or 6 times or hurt.
Did he?
Yeah.
Ngannou went down.
Yeah.
Usyk, he got a standing count. Ropes helped him last twice.
Yeah.
Wilder 3 times. That's 5 times.
Yeah. So what's happening? Is it his chin? No, I don't think it's his chin. I think Tyson Fury. I think it's his legs. So he can't move out of the way. Because if you're a heavyweight, anybody hits you on your chin, you're gone. Yeah. So I don't think his chin's gone. I think his legs are slowed down. Because that's the only justification for why he's getting caught.
Makes me think of when Joe Calzaghe, he said towards the end of his career, he kept getting dropped. That's why I knew it was time to retire. He got dropped by Roy Jones.
Cool.
Yeah, why he shouldn't
that's
be
what I'm saying.
caught.
I knew at the back of my career, I knew when I sparred with people I used to deal with. I'm like thinking, how do you get that shot off? Because your hand-foot eye coordination, it starts to be uncoordinated. So you're slowing down a little bit, and that's when you're getting caught out a little bit, and that's where the difference is.
Well, hopefully, what do you reckon? Prediction for this fight?
I think Tyson Fury wins late stoppage.
Late stoppage.
Yeah.
I reckon he's going to have a run out and a bit of showboating. So I'm going to do 3 rounds of Boxing Bros UK. I'm going to ask you 3 questions. Okay, first question. Tell me a fun sparring story.
Fun sparring story?
Your sparring story, or one that you've seen.
Fun sparring story. Oh God! So I'm going to talk about names you guys don't know. There's a fighter called Harold Bomber Graham.
I absolutely do know who he is.
And Benny used to get 4 of us in the ring sparring at the same time. 2 and 2, and change over your swaps for sparring partners. So there's me, Harold Graham, Brian Anderson, former British middleweight champion, and a guy called Andrew Sumner. And Andrew Sumner, he'd always hit you in the balls. He'd always hit you in the throat. And Brendan said, keep him up or keep him down. So Andrew and Harold, Andrew kept hitting Harold in the seed bag. So Harold's got mad now. So it's got serious. Harold's them proper tearing up. West Brom thing is shit. So Brian stopped, broke him up. He said, change over. So Brian jumped in with change with him. I'm sparring with Harold. Next minute, Brian and Andrew fight. He's done the same to him. So all of a sudden, Brian and Harold, they were friends, tight friends.
They were fighting out of the ring.
They're trying to deal with him because he kept licking him and hitting him low, hitting him in the throat, and it was just funny. And at one point, I think I was that pissed off. Me and him were sparring, and Brian and Andrew were behind, and I went to throw a shot, and I'm thinking, that's not him for me. He purposely missed me, and boom, hit Andrew in the seat back.
Really?
And it was just like mayhem, and Brennan said, stop.
Round 2, David Hay. Could you have beaten him prime for prime?
Yeah.
How would you have beaten him?
I'd have been too sharp, too smart for him. I think David A, a phenomenal fighter. I think what he achieved in boxing, cruiserweight and heavyweight, I wish I did. I just think I would have been too unorthodox and too sharp for him. And David's a lion, and he'd have probably walked onto a shot.
Okay, last one. Let you off with that. Last one, Ajit Kabayal, Usyk. Do you think they'll ever fight, and who wins?
Usyk is top of the tree. Usyk is now, he's like, he can pick any low-hanging fruit he wants. Usyk is not stupid. He understands he's getting old. He understands these young lions are coming through. He understands these fighters are there. So I've got to be smart about the steps and decisions I make at this moment in time. I'm going to have to beat most of them, but the one thing you can't beat is time. So he knows he's getting older. He knows he's getting slower. He knows thinking, right, my time's coming. And so I would go for Usyk.
You still go for Usyk? What if it's next year, end of next year? Will you still go for Usyk?
No one. And Usyk, listen, Usyk himself says, he talks about walking away from the game. And once you start talking about that publicly, you're done.
Well, you've got one foot in the grave already.
That's right.
All right, well, thank you very much, Jonny.